It all started with an innocuous message. I was an aspiring photographer, trying to connect with like-minded people. I had recently joined Instagram and had started posting my work when I received a message from someone named Jake. He claimed to be a professional photographer based in the city and offered to give me some advice. At first, I didn't think much of it. His profile seemed legitimate. He posted photos from his work and travels, and his bio was full of professional accomplishments. He seemed genuine and passionate about photography. Our initial conversations were casual discussions about different photography techniques, gear, and editing styles. Nothing out of the ordinary. But then, he started reaching out more frequently. At first, it was just photography tips. But soon enough, his messages became more personal. He began asking about my life outside of photography, my hobbies, and eventually, my family. I was a bit put off by the sudden shift, but I brushed it off. He was just being friendly, right? A couple of weeks into our conversations, Jake suggested that we meet in person. He said he was holding a photo shoot downtown and invited me to join him. I hesitated. After all, I didn't know him in real life, and meeting a stranger from the internet felt risky. But he assured me that it would be a professional meetup, just to exchange ideas and possibly collaborate. Reluctantly, I agreed. We arranged to meet at a cafe near my apartment. When I arrived at the coffee house, I spotted a man sitting alone in a corner, wearing a black hoodie and holding a camera. I approached him cautiously and introduced myself. He stood up with a big smile, shook my hand, and we exchanged pleasantries. The whole situation felt off from the beginning, but I pushed my doubts aside. We talked about photography for a while, but his questions started to grow more invasive. So, do you live around here? Do you have roommates, boyfriend? He asked, in an almost too casual tone. I felt a slight unease growing in me, but I tried not to show it. I hesitated for a moment, and in the end, I told him I lived alone. I didn't want to lie. He smiled again and nodded. But something about the way he looked at me made my skin crawl. After about an hour of talking, he suggested we go to a nearby park to take some photos. I agreed, thinking it was a harmless way to get out of the cafe. But when we arrived at the park, Jake insisted on taking photos of me. I agreed reluctantly, feeling uncomfortable but trying to push it aside. He took several shots, all while commenting on how beautiful I was, how sexy I looked in front of the camera. Then, Jake said something that sent a chill down my spine. You know, you'd look even better if you could just let go a little more, like you used to. He pulled out a photo of me, one that he'd apparently taken while I wasn't looking. It was a close-up shot, and my face was visibly uncomfortable. I froze. Did you take this without me knowing? Jake gave a nervous laugh, but his eyes never left mine. Just wanted to see what you looked like when you were relaxed, he said. You're really beautiful. Something was seriously wrong, and I knew it. I quickly told him that I needed to leave, but he stopped me, grabbing my arm in the process. We're not done yet, he said, his voice colder than before. I yanked my arm away and walked briskly toward the exit. As I turned around, I saw Jake still standing there, his smile now replaced with a look of something darker, something predatory. He didn't say anything. He just stared at me as I hurried back to my car. Later that night, as I lay in bed, I heard a faint creak coming from the window. I froze, heart racing. Slowly, I crept toward the window, but there was nothing there, just the empty street outside. But as I turned back to my bed, I felt a rush of panic. I had forgotten to lock the front door. I quickly rushed to the door, and when I looked out the peephole, I saw Jake standing there, staring directly at me. I could feel his eyes boring into mine, even through the door. He didn't say a word, just stood there, unmoving. I backed away from the door step by step, my heart pounding wildly in my chest. I grabbed my phone and immediately dialed 911, telling him that if he didn't leave, the police would be on their way. He stood outside the door for a few more minutes before finally leaving. I locked every door and window and stayed awake the entire night, too terrified to relax for even a second. Since then, I've changed my number, deleted my social media accounts, and moved to a new place. It was 11:37 p.m. when I noticed something unusual on Instagram. A new account had followed me. No profile picture, no posts, and the username was simply always here. I didn't recognize it and almost ignored it. But something about the timing felt off. I hadn't been active online for a long time. By 11:40, the account had started liking my old photos. Every single one, not just my recent posts. My first selfie from 2020, a blurry group photo from college, a picture of my dog on my first adoption day. It was meticulous, almost obsessive. I froze, feeling a little confused and unsettled. I opened the profile. There was nothing except a single live video feed that had started automatically. I didn't tap it at first. My brain wanted to dismiss it as a glitch, but the notification kept buzzing. Live now, live now, live now. Against my better judgment, I tapped the screen. At first, the feed was completely black. I assumed it was a poor connection. Then a figure appeared, barely visible, crouched in a dark room. Its face was obscured by shadows. The camera angle shifted subtly, as if someone was moving around with it. A wave of fear washed over me, and I tried to close the live stream. Nothing. My finger tapped the screen. The app froze, and the figure didn't move. It was just there, staring though I couldn't see its eyes. Then my direct message inbox buzzed. A new message from Always Sai Here appeared. You're here. Good. I've been waiting. My room suddenly felt colder. I turned toward my window. The blinds were closed, but I swore I saw a shadow flicker outside. The live feed shifted again. This time, it was from a different angle. I froze. It was my living room, my couch, my coffee table, and there, on the screen, someone was filming me. Me, sitting frozen in my own apartment, staring at my phone. Panic surged. I grabbed my phone and tried calling 911. The app wouldn't respond. My messages froze. The live stream kept streaming. Somehow it wasn't on my phone. It was everywhere I looked, showing me, showing my apartment, showing my life. I dropped my phone. It cracked on the hardwood floor, but the feed continued. My reflection in the dark screen of the broken phone showed me trembling, heart hammering, staring at myself like I was a stranger. I grabbed my keys and ran out of the apartment, boots thudding against the stairs. My neighbor opened their door. Everything okay? They asked. I couldn't speak. I just nodded, trying to calm my racing heart, shaking, listening to the ordinary sounds of the city outside. When I returned hours later, the front door looked normal, but there were scratches near the handle, thin, uneven lines, like someone had tried to pry it open with fingernails or a small metal tool. I backed away slowly, stomach twisting. That night, I stayed at a friend's house for the night. The next day, I deactivated my account and changed my number, and tried to convince myself it was over. I ended up moving out of that apartment 2 weeks later.